Howdy, folks. I'm the Octopotamus,
I'm Amber.
and here's some Reddit. Let me know what you think an octopotamus is. What would a hippopotamus crossed with an octopus look like? I mean, that's kind of a scary thought.
It's like a hippo with tentacles.
We need art. We need art for this. Somebody who has art talent, make sure to draw an octopotamus for me. I'm very interested in seeing what your vision is. Our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Getting Another Table for Me and My Daughter after my husband and his family refused to let her sit at the table with her teddy bear? And this one does have some content warnings. It's a little bit of a heavy in the respect that it does involve the death of a friend, a death of a child, and leukemia, and a controlling partner. My daughter, 10, best friend, 11, passed away from leukemia very recently. She is devastated beyond measure, and she started carrying around the teddy bear that her friend gave her as a way to soothe her and control her anxiety and overwhelm. My husband, her stepdad, thinks it's ridiculous, especially when she takes it with her to public places. But we don't hear weird comments from anyone about it. Still, he thought that this was ridiculous and classified it as a behavioral issue. My husband's birthday was yesterday. He told me to meet him at the restaurant. I obviously brought my daughter and she brought her teddy bear. The moment my husband and his mom saw it, their faces went pale. As I was taking a seat, my mother-in-law flat out said that she was sorry, but she couldn't allow my daughter to sit at a table with important guests with a teddy bear. I asked her who the guests were, and she said that they would show up in about 10 minutes. My husband backed her up and told me just to put the bear in the car, but instead of doing that, I went and sat with my daughter at another table. My husband was shocked, but didn't say anything. He and his family watched. Well, as the guests started to arrive, they recognized me and came to greet me and asked why I was sitting at a separate table with my daughter. I told them the story one by one, and they started joining me. I didn't know how this happened. My husband and his mom were furious by this. Eventually, only he, his mom, and his brothers and their significant others were at that table. The other guests sat with us. It was so overwhelming, but my daughter enjoyed the attention that they were giving her by asking her about the teddy bear. My husband and in-laws got up and left 30 minutes later. I went home later on and my husband wasn't there. He was at his mom's and left me some texts calling me petty and accusing me of not only ruining his birthday, but turning his relatives against him and stealing his guests. He mentioned that I could have left the toy in the car, but chose to be petty and disrespectful. Now the outcome is awful for him. He's still at his parents' and is pretty much mad at me. I'm thinking that I might have made the situation worse. One of the guests who joined me was actually one of my husband's best friends, Stuart. I think that this was what made my husband mad the most, but Stuart knew what was up, lol. The reason why I didn't just leave and go home was because my daughter said that she wanted to be at her stepdad's birthday. She already gave him his gift earlier before the celebration. So I got another table to still be able to be part of the celebration. All right, folks, what do you think, jerk or not the jerk?
Absolutely not the jerk. OP 0 on the jerk meter, but your husband is definitely being a jerk.
Yeah.
Like, everyone deals with grief differently, and there's nothing wrong with someone wanting to bring around a stuffed animal that reminds them of their friend. And if he was concerned about like her psychological well-being, grief counselors are a way to go, but you don't just take away someone's security item like right then and there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the important thing here is that there were definitely ways to handle this situation, but he chose to try and force her to not have this item, which I think was of great importance to her. And certainly if he feels like something is off and there's like some kind of a behavior that isn't actually healthy, then that's what counselors are for. And so he could have suggested to OP that they might take her to grief counseling or see a therapist. So I think that there were certainly other ways for him to handle this, and now he just looks bad because he's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, take care and good luck. And Important Sprinkles 9 says, the guests made their seating choice based on the human thing to do when someone is grieving, not the jerk. And Cosmic Sparkle Dust says, I'm realizing now, after reading this, that this was her stepdad that was reacting this way towards her. OP, do you really want to continue this marriage? Your husband seems to lack any compassion or have any bit of emotional intelligence. Also, why does it seem like so many men run to their mothers to take their sides? It's so juvenile. To me, this is a behavioral issue in itself, not the jerk. Alright folks, our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for causing my friend's boyfriend to set fire to my friend's stuff? And it does involve domestic violence. I've known both of these people for about 4 years. My friend is a college friend, and I've known her boyfriend for nearly as long. So they've been together for 3 years and recently took a vacation together to the Grand Canyon. After they came back, we hung out and I asked my friend how it went, and she coldly told me that she was sick of him and that she was breaking up with him as soon as she signed for a new place and moved her stuff in. I was shocked because who does that to someone that they've been dating for 3 years? I questioned why she wouldn't be honest, and she told me it was none of my business. I felt it was so cold and told my boyfriend, who is also close friends with her boyfriend. But my boyfriend told her boyfriend a few days later, thinking that he deserved to know because it's beyond cruel to make him walk into an empty house with no notice. Later on, she called me and was furious and yelled at me for telling her boyfriend. According to her, he took off without her, leaving her without water while they were hiking in the Grand Canyon because they had an argument and took the car from the parking spot. So she had to hike back without water and hitchhike 20 miles back to the campsite. I was pretty shocked and asked why she never told me, and she yelled that it wasn't any of my business. And now that he knew what she was planning, that he burned her clothes in their yard and that I should buy back her clothes because I'm the only person that she told about wanting to break up. I pointed out that she never once said that he was abusive, and she screamed that it wasn't any of my business, and it wasn't my business to share it with him. I feel like, without telling me why that she was going to ghost him, she can't expect me to keep a secret, especially since she didn't ask me to keep it a secret, or she just shouldn't have told me. But am I a jerk for sharing what she told about wanting to break up with her boyfriend? Alright folks, what do you think, jerk or not the jerk?
I'm going to say Opie's a bit of a jerk here. Now, the thing about abusive relationships is a lot of times they're not easy to spot from the outside.
Yeah, I think that's actually really important.
And also the most dangerous time statistically for a survivor is when they're trying to leave an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
You inadvertently ended up putting your friend in potentially a lot of danger. Like, the fact that he burned her clothes is like,
Yeah.
it's bad, but like you're lucky that things didn't escalate worse, and they may still escalate further.
Yeah, I agree on that. I mean, I think that that's actually really important, is that this was an escalation and OP was kind of sticking their nose into business that they really didn't have any business.
If someone out of the blue is going to break up their partner without any because survivors don't owe you their stories. It seems a little strange to me that OP, like, it sounds like they were really close, that she just jumped to, oh, he's cold, he's cutting him out, and not, maybe there's something else here. So, like, just for the people at home, if someone just wants to get out of a relationship real quick, even a long one, and it seems kind of out of the blue, there may be more going on than you know.
Yeah, people, when they've experienced trauma, they're not going to be really open to talking about that trauma. And I think that's really important to remember, is that not everyone's going to be in a place or be ready to talk about the negative experience that they've had. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for refusing to follow my sister's request not to speak to her friends? And this one involves some pretty bad bullying, just to let you know. I'm a 24-year-old female and I'm on the autistic spectrum. My sister, a 21-year-old female, is not. I've always been a very kind and sweet person, but also extremely awkward, and I have social anxiety. Until recently, I've never had a lot of friends. While I was always known as the difficult one growing up, she was the one without any problems. She was popular, she did well in school, she was very athletic, and was the one the boys liked. She always made it clear that she wanted nothing to do with me. She would often make remarks such as, "Stop acting autistic," when she knows that I'm diagnosed and it's not something I could help. When we went to the same high school, she would make sure that I kept at least 7-foot distance from her at all times because I'm embarrassing her and weird. She would never introduce me to her friends, and if I happened to know someone that she was friends with, she would always tell me never to speak to them so I don't embarrass her. Your sister has a winning personality. When she saw me talking about a group project with Emma, I was in the same class as one of her friends, she said, "Ew, leave my friend alone." I later explained that we were just working on a project together. When my sister had people over at our house, she would tell me to stay in my room until they left, and my mom would make sure I stayed there and would scold me for coming out and saying hi.
Ugh.
A winning mom right there, right folks? We're in our 20s now and we live in different states. However, at the end of 2019, when I was still in college, I went with my family on a winter break trip to Italy. My sister's best friend, Catherine, came on the trip with us. Catherine seems like a nice girl, and although I don't know her that well, she seemed accepting of my differences and awkward behavior. I feel like I got to know her a lot better during that time and had a lot of fun on the trip. Before we left Italy, she even remembered that I like donuts and bought me some. Again, my sister and I now live in different states, so I haven't seen her or Catherine much since 2020. However, we're all very active on social media. Recently, Catherine posted an Instagram picture of herself with a funny caption on it, and I commented, "Best caption and photo." "Thank you, lol," Catherine replied. My sister, who had seen the comments, texted me, "Don't comment on my friend's photo. That's so creepy." I was a bit confused, since this was someone that I know, and I didn't even say anything weird or creepy. "Don't contact my friends ever again," my sister continued. "You make me so uncomfortable." I told my parents that I felt that my sister was being unfair, but my mom said that my sister was completely reasonable and that I should respect her wishes. Amber's over here shaking her head. "Catherine is her friend, not yours," my mother reminded me. I never contacted Catherine again, nor do I ever intend on doing that. However, I made it clear to my sister that she has no right to restrict who I can and cannot interact with. I could speak to whoever I wanted to, and I informed her. She said that I'm being selfish and rude. All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. You get a 0. Your mom and sister both get a full 5 because this is such gross behavior.
It is. It really is. It's very ableistic.
It is so ableistic. The mom saying, "Oh, you can't come out of your room." Anyone
May as well just lock her in a closet or in the cupboard below the stairs or whatever, right?
Yeah. Anyone who's embarrassed by your autism is not worth knowing. Opie did say in one of the comments that she's not living with her family anymore, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, well, they're in different states and they're not living together, and I think that that's really important because she needs to put some distance between herself and her family, who aren't acting very family-like. I don't even know if these people like you, OP.
It doesn't sound like they do, and probably Opie is the best just not interacting with them. The petty part of me is like, expose them. Let everyone know how terrible these people are.
You know, I really honestly... Let me know what you folks think, but would you think it would be a bad idea for OP to send the text to Catherine and show her how terrible that these people are being?
Because I feel like a lot of people, if they knew what the mom and sister were doing, like, would not be okay with it. Any decent human being would just be horrified.
Yeah, if I were in Catherine's shoes, I would want to know about this because I wouldn't want to be friends with people like this.
That's a good point. Like, the people may want to know this fact of who they're associating with.
So that's just my personal preference. Like, if someone was being terrible to another person like that, I would want to know so I could just not associate with them, because I don't want to associate with someone who's acting mean and petty like this. That's kind of my thought. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Starby Barbie 99 says, "Not the jerk. Sorry, your family hates you." That's what it seems like. This isn't what you do to people that you love. And OP replies, "Good thing I don't live with them anymore. I live in another state now and have a lot of good friends here." And Jeeper Creeper 74 says, "Not the jerk. Your sister may not be on the autism spectrum, but she sounds emotionally stunted because these are middle school mean girl antics and are unbecoming of a 21-year-old. Catherine liked your comment. Catherine bought you donuts. Guess what? Catherine is your friend, and you have every right to communicate with her. If Catherine had thought it was creepy that you were following her on Instagram, she would have blocked you. You are not extremely awkward, your sister is. She is the one that are making things uncomfortable by gatekeeping relationships." All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I have some tea right here, and I managed to guess it right on the 4th try.
It only took you 2 tries. There's only 3 guesses.
Well, I guessed mint the first 3 times.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
And we've got some jokes here.
Why is the letter T like an island?
Well, because it's in the middle of float. It's in the middle of water.
Yes, it's in the middle of water. That's the end of float.
I knew it had something to do with water, and so I just said a word that dealt with water, and I'm like, that has a T in it. I'm like, float. It must be something, some words. It's like spitting out as many words that deal with water as possible. And I have Earl Grey. So I think I told them that it's not mint for sure.
Oh, yes. Made your guessing easy for you.
Yeah.
50-50 shot now.
Now it's a 50-50 shot. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving it a like, and if you didn't, consider giving it a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you all tomorrow.
Bye.
What is an octopotamus to you, Amber?
I mean, it's a cross between an octopus and a hippopotamus.
Oh, that's an interesting one. I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah, of course you hadn't.
No, I'm serious.
Oh.